Alright, we are live. Got a little pregame going on, about 9 minutes before we kick things off. But hey, we'll get things started. Like every week, I gotta take a few minutes and blast this out on the airwaves, so you can do the same. Be sure to hit that share button. If you're not a subscriber, be sure to subscribe to my channel. Lots of good things happening here. Current projects. I am working through my A to Z Fly series, which is a lot of fun. It's out of my Norwegian book that somebody sent me in the mail, and it's a lot of fun. Thankfully, I have a little app on my phone called Google Translate, which really aids in the ability to work my way through this book. So be sure to check that out, that series out. It is a ongoing playlist. As things progress, I just add it to the playlist. Same with all of my playlists. They're always they're living and breathing playlists. They're always being updated as I'm working my way through. You know, if it's a streamer, I put it in a streamer, and you know, it's just a way to keep things organized in my little world. So we'll be getting started here. What time do we got? I got 5:53. We're going to start in approximately 7 minutes with the tying of flies. So be sure to say hi in the chat. Let's see, who can guess what fly we are tying tonight? Who knows? Who recognizes that pattern? Because we're on the letter M. And M is for, you guessed it, I'm not going to say what it is yet. We gotta wait. We gotta wait till 6 o'clock Central Time Zone, United States, Minnesota, near the banks of the mighty, oh so mighty Mississippi. She's a good river. I really enjoy her. She was not kind to me yesterday. I spent full 6 hours with a friend flogging the water, and I had no hits, no bumps, lost a couple of flies. My Clouser minnow that has been doing so well for me, it's been gifted to a rock on the riverbed. And I think that was kind of the hardest part, you know, but, you know, I don't know, we move on. I didn't do too bad considering the guy I was fishing with. I think he had one or two northerns, little small slimy little guys. But I don't know, sometimes you skunk out and you move on. So what is going on? All right, we got a couple people popping in here. I'm done hitting my copy and paste button, I swear. And let's check it out. Who do we have in the chat? Well, it looks like we got Rob. Rob is in the house. Hello, sir. I did not make my way to the post office yet, but I do have a box with your address on it. Turns out I will be making a run to the post office sooner than later, because as it turns out, I have my father-in-law's spare boat key. All right, we got a Jimmy in the house. Jimmy, how are you, sir? How are you? Got a special treat for Jimmy tonight after we do our Mickey Finn. We are going to try our hand at a Muddy Rabbit. And here's kind of a bad one. This was my very first run at it, but we'll try it again, and hopefully we will fare just a little better. Let's see, 5:56. We'll start this in 4 minutes. 4 jolly good minutes. So yeah, I was just talking about my fishing story, and you know, it's nothing makes a fish bigger than almost being caught. Well, there are some monsters out there right now. So, I don't know. Anybody else have any tall fishing tales to tell? Tall tales to tell of the fishing stories. I don't do impersonations. I just have a couple random accents that I slip into from time to time. I missed out on the Tipsy Tire last night. It was a late night working bingo. I volunteer at my VFW once a week, or twice a week, working bingo. I do once a week doing fish fry. But I don't know. All right, so let's see. Now we got a couple people in here, a couple people watching. What fly is this? This is part of the A to Z, and we're on the letter M. How did the Project Healing Waters go for me? Let's see, that was Wednesday. I think that was last Wednesday. We got rained out, no fishing. But we did tie flies since it was our first time back in a while. Everybody got to do woolly buggers. It was a woolly bugger party. So creeping into this fly that nobody has been able to name yet. Kind of going double with the letter M. I got these nice Moonlit Competition barbless. No barb squishing for this because it ain't there. It's a 1X strong, 3X long. Hey, keep the jokes to yourself, folks. Anyways, still waiting for somebody to chime in on. I'm not going to say what fly this is until somebody else guesses what the name of this fly is. We're on the letter M. M is for... Let's see. Maybe we can take a look. It's in a book. Well, this bucktail, this is out of my book that I recently bought at the used bookstore. And this bucktail was made popular by John Allen Knight, old-time outdoor author and promoter of sonar tables and newspapers for its fishing guides. The pattern was made by Gerald Van Norton, a fly fisherman that tied the yellow bucktail. In 1936, Knight introduced the red and yellow bucktail to a fly fisherman in Toronto, Canada. That's how you say it in its native tongue. You say Toronto, not Toronto. Toronto, eh? Anyways, he had they had good luck with the pattern, and they called it the Assassin. A bartender in Toronto named Tom Kensworth was told of the bucktail and promptly named it the Nope, it's not the Moonlit Minnow. This is one of the all-time streamer patterns. It produces well on game fish on all continents. And then it goes into the recipe. So, well, if I slipped you one, you would know what it would be. All right, here we go. It is time. Let's go ahead and do this. This is going to be the next fly on the A to Z series. M is for Mickey Finn. Let's give it up for the Mickey Finn. All right, let's go ahead and tie one up, and then we're gonna move on to A little special fly for Jimmy. The marabou, not marabou, the muddy water minnow? No, muddy water, muddy rabbit. Muddy, help me out here, Jimmy. What do we call this? What do we call that? So anyways, this is that Moonlit. It's a streamer hook. It's a ML057. It's a pretty nice hooks. I like them. Anyways, to go ahead and start this, I am using my Sulky's Hollow Shimmer. This is the silver. Looks like I got a couple of flies left on this little mini spool. It comes on a larger spool. Some people take these and bend them out and, you know, make it so it can hold it on the bobbin. But I just slide over to my wife's sewing machine and use the winding mechanism on that. So anyways, we're going to cast this on up in the front. We're just going to take a few wraps, locking that Ed Mama Jamma down. And that's going to be the main part of our body. And for ribbing, I have some UTC. This is silver in the small. The original recipe is calling for an oval tinsel. We're going to get that out of the way. I think the camera keeps trying to focus in on that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this here on top, and I'm going to do my darndest to secure that on the top of the shank of the hook. And because this is a floss, from time to time I'll be giving my bobbin a spin counterclockwise to flatten that all out. Alright, we have the Husingfeld Life, my brother, from the same mother, just a couple years and a couple weeks earlier, Josh. How you doing, Josh? How are things on the home front? Okay, so I got my silver wire secured. I can just set that off to the side. And I did one earlier with a shot of super glue in there, and it really clouded everything up. Let's see, we got Josh and we have Richard the dad. It's a family affair, folks. It's a family affair. So for those of you who don't know, Richard Husingfeld is the father. The Husingfeld Life is my brother, Josh. And we are getting Josh into fly fishing because he is coming out to the 406. And we are going to go fish the Upper Madison, chasing rainbows. Hopefully we'll leave the whitefish alone. Won't get into those too hardcore, but so here we go. Alright, so we're done with our body material, this hollow shimmer. And what I like about this is I can just give it the old 1, 2, 3 whip finish. Little snug and tug, and we are good to go. Trim that off. Alright, now we're going to get on to the thread portion. This is it. Size, it's a size 75 cents on the wooden spool. Not much to it, nothing fancy, just old school. Alright, we're going to cast on our thread, taking some tight wraps, and I'm going to wrap this just up and onto the hollow shimmer. And now we can come through with our wire and we're going to do our counter wraps, locking this all down. And again, this is, according to the recipe, should be an oval tinsel, and I don't have any oval tinsel in silver. I got some in gold, but I really like the color of the silver. So the ribbing on it is not as pronounced as it probably should be, but we'll get by. All right, trim off our wire. And if you didn't catch that, this is a little plastic, I don't know, kids bead, craft bead, and some elastic. Just hot glue gunned it all together, and it's just a little spool tender, just like your tippet spool. Keeps everything together, minimizes waste. So, all right, let's get on to the bucktail portion. You guessed it, we're going to start with yellow. Some good old yellow bucktail. And you want to keep it sparse because you're doing 3 layers. And I think that'll be plenty after we get it cleaned off. Rob is back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. All right. Trim off our bucktail. And like always, we're going to clean it. Now this is some pretty good quality bucktail that I have here because it doesn't have too much to clean out. Your eyebrow brush is a great little bench side hand tool. 2 sides. We'll get that cleaned out. Set that off to the side. Now we are going to run this through our packer. I'm going to put it in tips down. Give it a little twist. Just make sure they're all in there. And we are going to stack. I'm going to stack these all out. Now these are pretty long, so I can just grab them by the end there. And there it is. Nice big, nice lengthy pieces of bucktail. I like these tips. I haven't gotten into the synthetic bucktail yet. I don't know. I really, really like the original. Alright, we're going to take a couple of tight wraps. Lock this down. And I'm going to lift this all up. And I'm just going to give it a couple more wraps just on the shank. Fold that back down. And do a final wrap. Now those 2 wraps will help prevent the whole wing assembly from rotating. Next, a little bit of red, R-E-D, bucktail. Again, we're going sparse on this, so just tiny little bits here. You don't want to go bananas, but you do have to take in consideration that, you know, at the base of it, on the hide, where you're pinching, it's going to be a lot thicker than the tips where we're going to be tying everything in. So, in the spirit of keeping things sparse. Alright, again, clean out all the junk. Nothing to it. Now this, we're going to run it through our stacker again. And here we go. So, no storms rolling through this week, so hopefully the connectivity will just be in our favor. So I got the tips aligned. I'm just going to set this right on top. Take one soft wrap. And a couple more locking wraps. I don't want to take too many wraps in between each layer. So, reading the recipe, it did specifically call for the top yellow portion to be a little more dense, if you will. A little bit thicker, a little bit longer. And we'll clean this out. And I think running hair through the comb start things off. I think it kind of helps separates things, and I believe it stacks a little bit cleaner. We'll just keep spinning that around until it all goes in. I'll run this through the stacker. So depending on how we're doing for time, after we're done with Jimmy's fly, we may roll into an Inception. So, all right, another chunky yellow. Let's go ahead and lock that in. I'm keeping all these thread wraps directly on top of each other, or right next to each other right here, because I'm going to come in with my scissors and trim off all this excess. All that's left is to build the head, which is pretty easy. Gonna take our thread down to the eye, and we'll just build up a little ramp, giving us a nice shape up front. I give my thread that counterclockwise. Sometimes you just have to do that just to get your thread to lay a little bit flatter. Alright, so now what I'm going to come here, I'm going to come to the back of the head. I'm going to grab the entire wing assembly, and I'm going to go underneath and take a wrap. I'm going to do that another second time here. I'm getting it nice and tight into that, where that gap is, and that will help kind of lift that wing up and off of the body. Okay, take our thread forward one last time. And you guessed it, we're going to give this the old 1, 2, 3 whip finish. 1, 2, 3. We are whip finished. Alright, here we go. We'll trim off our tying thread nice and close to the head. And I really like the look of the finish of this. I just recently acquired this. This is the Loon Blackhead, or Hardhead in the color of black. It goes on pretty easy. It comes with a brush applicator, which is alright, but I don't have that big of a head to do, so we're just going to get a little of this on our bodkin. And once you get some on the head, it's just as simple as spreading it around with the tip. And the capillary action just kind of sucks it into the thread. We want to make sure we get full coverage. If you're taking the time to put it on, might as well make sure it goes all the way. Nice and even. I really like the way it kind of goes on a little bit cloudy, but when it dries, that sucker is black. So there you have it, folks. That is the Mickey Finn. That's the official tie of the week. That's going to be our next video on our A to Z series. I will do a dedicated how to tie tutorial video. Yay! Alright, so here we go. We're going to roll into something a little bit different now. This is the Muddy Water Rabbit. Muddy Water Rabbit Fly. Muddy Bunny. There we go. The Muddy Bunny. Muddy Bunny. Muddy Bunny, Muddy Buddy, Muddy Bunny. I need to write that down. Muddy Bunny. All right, Jimmy. So here we go. This is for Jimmy. So pay attention here. We're gonna get through this. I even put together a little box of all the little doodads and whatnots we're gonna need on here. So here we go. We're gonna use the same hook. We're gonna use that same size 4. I gotta dig everything out here. All right, next we'll do our tungsten bead. This is a medium. Like I said, Jimmy asked about this the other day, last night I believe, and I said to him, I think I can do it if I have the cone heads. So, you know, it's what's nice about these barbless hooks is it makes putting on beads and other jewelry so much easier. No squishing of the barb, no pinking it around, no hassle, no fuss. All right, next we're gonna do some lead wire. We're gonna give this some weight. This is 020. And I'm just going to start back here, give it a little bit of a pinch, and I put them on as a counter wrap because when I cast on my thread, it will fall in between and fill the gaps and it'll be nice and purty. So we're just going to wrap and compress, wrap and compress. I'm going to make this one a little extra heavy. And it's got, it has that tungsten bead. And so it's got that going for it. Alright, we got our bead on, and we're going to push that lead all the way forward. Now this bead can actually still work its way through there, but we're going to get by with that. Alright, thread. It's a little bit thinner than I would like to use, but I really like the color. This is a dark brown. I guess you'd want to use maybe a 140 for the deer hair portion, but you know, we'll make it work. And we'll cast on our thread. And I'm just going to work it through the lead. Give it one last compression. And I'm going to snip off my tying thread. Muddy Bunny. Muddy Bunny. I got to keep saying that because I am going to totally biff that at some point. Alright, next I'm going to tie in some copper wire because I will be using a ribbing on here. And this is brown copper wire. I think we can see the color theme I'm going with. And, you know, just an old bobbin. Broke the tip off of this one, so no sense of throwing it away. We'll use it for the wires. I'm going to start this right behind the lead wraps. And I'm going to want to finish this on the near side of the hook. And we'll just set that off to the side. My vise is a little bit loose. Alright, there we go. Alright, next, what do we got in our little goodie bag? We have, yes, the root beer chenille. I'm doing a root beer chenille on this one. Got it on the card still. And let's go ahead and strip a little bit of that off. Get it to those inner core threads. Looks like I got to give this a little counterclockwise spin. Here we go. I'll tie that in. Excellent, I like it. Alright, also I'm going to take my thread back to the bend. Here's one piece of a Mirage Mirage Tinsel Crystal Flash. I'm going to cut it once. I'm going to cut it twice. So now I have 4 strands. I'm going to tie that in. And we'll fold that over and get that. Alright, so now we got that all worked in. How did I do this earlier? I'm looking at my my sample exhibit A. Alright, yeah, so now we take our thread forward. And I'm going to bring this into that lead. What I'm doing is I'm leaving a cone head's width behind. That's going to be my measurement. Now we can go ahead and palmer on our root beer chenille. So while we're doing this one, just to keep it going, let's do some shout outs. Because I'll give you a shout out by you listing somebody who deserves a shout out. And I'll give a shout out to my dad and my brother because they're both here. And I'll give a shout out to my buddy Dave. He's a good guy, takes me out fishing from time to time. It's taught me oh so much in the fly fishing world. My local mentor. So as I put this on, I'm just taking touching wraps, slowly working it forward. We'll give, let's see, who do we have on here? It says I got 5 people watching. Sound off, folks, sound off. Monday we're going fishing again with the Fly Club. Yeah, we'll give a shout out to Rod. Rod Roberts. Shout out. We'll do a shout out to Ron with Fly Life. We'll do a shout out to Steve. Alright, I don't know what happened there, folks. We got disconnected for a split second, but we are back. So, we're back. Sorry for the hiccup, folks. Don't know what causes that. I'm just doing my thing, tying along, and anyways, we got to our thread. We're locking this down. And we're going to trim off our root beer chenille. And we're going to put this back into its bag. Where'd it go? Here we go. So that's a large pearl chenille, large root beer. All right. Next step, it can't be a bunny, can't be a mighty bunny without a wabbit strip. So, what we're going to do here is we're going to take ourselves our wabbit strip. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just take that tip. This is the way it's going towards the tail. I'm just going to take the tip. I'm just going to do a little 45 degree. I've read in numerous places that's the thing to do. Alright, so we're going to measure this out. Got 1 hook's length on the backing on the hide. And we're going to put that right there. I'm going to separate that fur, because now I'm going to come in with this copper wire. Let me shorten that up. I had it pulled out to get it out of the way. All right, we'll set this back down. You know what I forgot to do? Haha, that makes no sense. Might as well just trim it. We're just going to trim it off. That's what I'm... Sometimes you just do things and you don't know why you're doing it. But we're going to trim this out. Trim this down a little bit. This will give us a better grab if you get some of that additional fluff out of the way, because we got to secure this front end down instead of just acting all crazy from the rear. I'm going to put this in nice and tight. Good and tight. Alright, now let's go ahead and do this. That's why I was having some difficulty there. And this is where your bodkin is going to come in, because this is going to flip out all the Alright, I don't know what's happening, folks. For whatever reason, it keeps disconnecting me. But we continued. Alright, so I got one full wrap of my copper wire as my bodkin rolls onto the floor. That's going to hold down that rear end. And we're just going to take a nice big open spiral, working our way forward. Zoom back in there. Taking this ribbing, bring it forward, use your bodkin, tease it out. Again, I apologize for the interruption there, folks. It's internet. It's whatever forces want to work against me. Alright, we have our rabbit strip still on top. We got our brown copper wire wound through our kind of an orangish hue to it. Secure down our wire, and we can go ahead and trim this off, get it out of the way. Excellent. All right. Next, after that, we need some little rubber legs. So I have these barred flutter legs, and I have one strand cut in half here. I'm going to take this flutter leg. I'm going to have it. I'm going to tie it on this side, folding both legs towards the rear. And I will do the same on the other side. And we'll fold this over. All right, bind that down nice and tight. So we got our rubber legs on both sides now. And now we go on to the collar, the shock collar. And for that, let's see, that says hair's iced up, but that's not it. This is, it's interesting how I got two different few different stickers on here. So this is a rusty orange. This is a belly hair. This is nice and premium here. This is good thick stuff here. And we're going to take a small clump. Maybe coffee stirrer size. And this is just as critical as when we did the bucktail, if not more critical. But this is going to really need to get cleaned out extra good. So we'll run our comb through it a few times and hit it with that brush. Alright, now let's run this through the stacker. We really want to get those tips lined up, and I'm going to use my small stacker here because I just have a smaller in length. Alright, once we have our tips aligned, we'll go ahead and just remove this stack. And I have this big bulky piece, and I'm just going to trim that just to get the bulk of that bulk out of the way. Alright, it's going to flare out quite a bit, and I want the tips to go, I don't know, about halfway on the shank of the hook, halfway down that body. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab it, I'm going to set it on top. Do one soft wrap, second wrap, adding a little bit more tension. I'm going to come through and I'm just going to kind of spread it around a little bit. Now I can draw this tight and really let that flare up. Alright, so that's the top half. We're going to repeat this process one more time. This will be on the underneath. Alright, here we go. Same old story, same old song and dance. Cleaning hair. That's what we do. We shop at the beauty counter. We buy our fingernail polish. We buy our eyebrow brushes. You know, if you're lucky, maybe your wife doesn't use such instruments. Partner or roommate or whoever you have kicking around, keeping you in check. Alright, let's go ahead and run this through the stacker as well. Alright, same as before. I'm just going to cut the bulk of the fluff off. This will just kind of even everything up. Alright, so this is going to be that same length underneath. And I'm going to hold this directly underneath. Do that one soft wrap. I'm going to do that second wrap. I'm just going to add a little bit of tension here. I'm going to make sure that's spread out. I didn't quite get it all the way around. I'm going to have to add another little fluff. Another little fluff for the back. Because it didn't quite reach. But that's alright. This is not one of those quick flies like the Mickey Finn. This is one that definitely takes some time and effort. We're back at it. What'd you do today, Aaron? I don't know. Cleaned out a whole bunch of deer belly hair. Tied it onto a hook. Jimmy, I really liked those egg-sucking leeches you did. Those are definitely looking... Oh, that's the big one. We'll put it in the small one. You know, at first I kind of laughed. It's like, why does anybody need two different size hair stackers? And you know, it makes all the difference. Alright, so this is another little clump. And we're keeping the tips. We're keeping the tips. We're just trimming off butt sections here. We're trying to line up, keep these tips at that same area. And letting it flare out. Usually just a couple of wraps will do it. I like that underneath. Alright, so now I'm going to take all this, I'll fold it back, get my thread forward. There we go. Alright, here we go. More deer hair. Because that just built up, that was the creation of the little spiky collar. That's the collar. This is going to be the head of it. Now I'm going for a slightly larger chunk here because I really want this to be good and dense. I'm going to clean that out. Nice and good. Clean, clean, clean. Alright, so now, instead of running this through the stacker, I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to put the tips forward. And I'm going to trim off my tips. So now I just have the larger butt section and the trimmed tips. I'm just going to set this right on top, right behind that cone head. I draw that in. A couple soft wraps, cinch it down, and secure it. Alright, we'll do that again on the bottom. Let's see here. And this is why I have a nice little Black & Decker little hand vacuum. Little dirt devil. First go through, make sure you don't have any hooks or any scraps that you want to throw in your scraps bag for later. And hit it with the vacuum. Especially after monkeying around with all this deer belly hair. Alright, so once again, have the tips facing forward, and I'm going to trim those off. And let's go ahead and just tuck this underneath. We'll do that one soft wrap, add a little bit of tension, really suck that in right behind that cone head. I'm not spinning. I'm not trying to do a spun deer hair on this. I'm just stacking it in there and building up the. I'm not trying to actually do the spinning method. Let's see. Is that enough? Let's check this other side. I think that's going to be good. All right, here we go. The old 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Make sure that's nice and tight on the inside. Alright, for whatever reason that keeps cutting out on me. I don't know what's up with the connection, but I'm just giving that a second. 4, 5, 6 whip finish. Trim off the tying thread. Alright, so now this is where we'll fluff this out. And I'm going to come in with, these are my Razor Dr. Slicks. I got those longer fibers with the tips. And I've got pressing down so I don't trim those off. And this is just a rough cut. I'm going to trim this collar down. Just the butt sections. We want to maintain the tips. Alright, so that's kind of a rough cut. Keeping that collar clear. And I have myself a brand spanking new, this is a Derby brand, double-sided razor blade. Brand new, brand spanking new. And let's go ahead and turn this towards us a little bit. Oh, so carefully, give this a nice bend. I'm going right off of that cone head. If I have some long fibers in the back, that's okay. I'm going to come in with the scissors. Now you're not going to get this done with like a single edge like box cutter blade. You really need to get that bend on it. And that's why we had this so densely packed. That's why we use those butt sections. Alright, so that's going to be good enough for now. Let's go ahead and take our scissors and clean this up a little bit more. I have just a few of these longer ones that aren't tips. Could have added a little bit more there on that side. By no means am I calling this one perfect. But it is a, let me look at my paper, the Muddy Bunny. Always be careful when you're messing with that brand new hook. Again, you know, another application for this brush. You don't really brush that out. Get any of those loose pieces. So that is my very second attempt at the Muddy Bunny. You know, at a certain point, you're going to keep looking at it. But that's the trick there for you, Jimmy. I wish you the best on this one. So the key things you want to really keep in mind is, you know, when you're doing that deer hair, you're not spinning it up front. You're just setting it down and letting it flare. Do your best to, after your second wrap, you know, really kind of roll it over. That way you get more coverage. This one, you know, it looks a little weak right here. I could have added, you know, maybe one on top, one on bottom, and then maybe on either side, and then really got this super dense. But, you know, that's why we have those lead wraps in conjunction with that tungsten bead. So, oh, let's see. I don't think we don't have time for an Inception streamer. I did kind of rush my way through one. But there it is. I got to do 4 of these. This is just kind of a trial run. This is on a 2-aught, must add. So let's see. What's next? Hashtag, is it the 20th yet? Yes, the post-fly box should be coming out soon. I did get my email already. Here we go. You know, I'm thinking maybe, just maybe, I might take a piece of mono and tie it in and then poke it through. This will just kind of help keep this tail up and out of the bend of the hook. I don't know. Muddy Bunny. What do you say? Muddy Bunny, Muddy Bunny, Muddy Bunny. Alright, well, we'll call that a wrap for the day. Had some technical hiccups. Hopefully, it wasn't too terrible. I will say, I did go through and I cleaned out the graveyard, cleaned out the boneyard, and recovered all these wonderful hooks. All my misfit flies that were deemed unworthy have been returned to their natural habitat. I mean, there's still plenty of crazy contraptions out there, different experiments. You know, you never stop experimenting, folks. Keep reading. Reading is fundamental. Get some of those used books. You know, it'll help you further along. You know, it's one of the things that hashtag YouTube is not a book. Here we are, we're on YouTube, but I see it way too often. Somebody is out there asking for a book recommendation, a book, a hardcover or softcover book, printed, in print, and people suggest YouTube. Now, YouTube is nice. Yeah, obviously we're here today, but it's not a book. So, you know, I encourage all of my viewers to go out there and become readers. Who knows? Maybe someday I'll have a book out there of my own. But, you know, in the meantime, be sure to subscribe. Hit that share button for me. Hit me that thumbs up. Give me that like. Looks just like this. And we'll catch you guys on the flip side. So, keep your eyes open. Up next will be the Mickey Finn step-by-step video. So, yeah. Check it out. Thank you for watching. Happy tying and tight lines. Oh, we can't end with that crooked. Here we go. Happy tying and tight lines. Thank you.